Let's see how he faked dying. What I'm wondering is him fake dying. What if this is just a cover up because he like regretted actually dying? That's what I'm wondering.
Because that was 10,000 days in hardcore Minecraft.
Yeah, like that's him dying, right? No totems.
But where is the death screen? Why didn't you show the death screen? We never got to see the death screen though. He never showed the death screen. Show the death screen. Death screen, death screen, death screen. All anybody wants to see is the death screen. So today, ladies and gentlemen, it is time that I, SB737, reveal the truth about my hardcore world.
Okay. This has got to be fake. This has got to be like he regrets dying in his world, so he decided to make this video. That's my prediction. What channel is this? SB737.
Like every other video on my channel. I started a world, I survived for 100 days, and I hoped that the video would do well. And boy, did it do well. We did 200 days, 300 days, 400 days. They just kept going. Until 4 years later, on day 10,000, I destroyed it all and jumped into the void. Which brings us back to this point. How am I stood here? What really happened? What actually happened on the day that I jumped into the void? And why? Why did I do it? Why has it come to this? What on earth is going on? As a side point, I should probably put my armor on. Don't want to die now. And I guess we should begin with how.
So he's alive.
How am I in my world here, running around, alive and well? You all saw me fall into the void with no items and no elytra. Well, the truth is, and you've got to understand that I had good reason for doing this.
Look at this world,
The truth
bro.
is, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. I am not leaving.
But you died, though.
On. This is
You died, though. You have to make a new world.
my home, and they're gonna need a wrecking ball to take me out of it. Okay, you know what? We'll stop with that reference. But yeah, it's true. A nuke wasn't enough to stop me. The show goes on. That's why there's no death screen. That's why it fades to black at just the right moment. At the exact point where the final tick of damage should have occurred. Day 10,000 was not the end. And my hardcore world is not over. So I'm going to show exactly what happened, and I'm going to show exactly how I did it. And to do that, we need to go where the void jump occurred. That includes the exact spot where I threw my items in the void, and the exact block that I ran forwards from as I fell into the void. I've also just remembered that I did sadly throw my elytra away. So I am going to need to grab another pair of those. I did used to keep some in my house, in my bedroom, but I believe, yeah, I think they've been blown up. But thankfully, I do have a few pairs in my treasure room that seem to have survived the blast. I'll also grab paper and gunpowder to make some rockets. Good thing my chest room survived the blast, isn't it? And you know what? Let's take a couple... Okay. Long story short, I haven't got a salt touch pickaxe, so I guess I won't be taking any ender chest with me. Let's worry about that later. The priority right now is to get to the end.
Why does he have no totem?
Once we head over there, I want to talk about why.
But shouldn't he have like 6 totems in his inventory at all times?
Would I do all of this? Why would I fake my death? Why would I pretend to end my most successful series and then do nothing for 5 months, only to come back now? And I'll be honest, guys. The answer is...
What?
I wanted a break. I wanted a break.
What's wrong with
from
totems?
The world and the series. Every week, all I'd do was play on this world. And sometimes I'd do projects and videos that I really, really enjoyed.
He's not as bad as you.
I'd just be playing for the sake of it. I'd just
it's
be
not,
playing on
yo, it's not because I'm bad. It's because why would I purposely wear worse and have worse gear? That doesn't make sense. Yeah, some of you guys are actually just stupid.
Because I had to make a video on it, and that's just what I had to do. Let's also jump on through this portal. But yeah, on day 10,000, I knew the truth. I knew that I hadn't died, and you guys obviously didn't know. But I also didn't know if the series had actually ended. I didn't know if I was ever going to come back. Like, I literally didn't know if I was ever going to play the world again. I hadn't really made that decision at the time, but I wanted to give myself the choice.
Why don't you ask him
both,
yourself?
really.
What? Why doesn't he have a totem?
There forever. I could, And if I wanted to continue
No, you're
it,
just bad. How am I
could also
bad?
do that. And as you can tell right now, I've decided I'm ready to come back to this world. Anyway, I actually can't remember which pillar it is. Was it one of these over here? I think it's right here. Does this give you guys PTSD if I stand right here and walk forward? How many times have you watched that? Anyway, this time... Oh, well, we just took forward.
This is why he needs a totem. No, I could already predict it right now. This guy has respawned in this hardcore world so many times. If he doesn't have totems all the time, no, he has definitely spawned himself back in his hardcore world, bro.
Well, the first thing I did right
no
here
way
was
he
throw
has
my
it.
items into the void, and they did actually go into the void and out of the world. They're lost forever. There's no way to get them back. I did actually chuck them.
Eat!
Then I stood on this bedrock here, gave a bit of a
bruh.
speech saying how great the world is. Thank you, everybody.
Simmer down.
Showed
Okay.
that my inventory was empty, and then I walked forward. You guys remember the score. I had no Electron. I fell into the void.
Oh, he always has
There
totems
was
except for right now.
absolutely
Oh, okay.
no way back up. At least that's what I wanted you to think, because this obsidian pillar, yeah, it's not just a normal obsidian pillar. No, I had to hide it perfectly, but there's a contraption inside which I'd fine-tuned to perfection to make sure that I definitely
So this is how he did it.
But I had to make it so that I would get as close to death as possible so that people would think it was real and that I fell into the void. So, this time there's not going to be any cuts. There's going to be no fade to black. This is exactly what happened as I jumped into the void. There's going to be no do-overs. There's going to be no... So the first thing I want you to notice is that I kept my armor on. I threw everything else away, but I kept my armor on.
Why?
Which is a critical part of the plan. If I didn't do that, this 100% would not have worked. Next, I stood on this bedrock block, and I had to stand on this exact block because whilst the viewer, it looked like I was standing on it as a bit of a podium, I was using this to perfectly line up my player because the contraption inside the pillar needed very, very specific timings and positionings, otherwise I would die. And then I do my final speech, and I know that this speech is going to be extremely iconic, like these are my parting words to series, so I'm concentrating on trying to say the right thing, but I'm also fully focused on lining my player up so I'm looking in the right direction. And I'm concentrating on the fact that I'd set it up so that all I have to do is hold down forwards. There was no sprinting, no jumping, nothing else required. And in the back of my head at this point, I'm hoping and hoping that the machine works. I'm kind of trying to think, but I'm also thinking, well, if this doesn't work, it's actually going to be over.
Why did he have to jump? He had to jump at that exact angle?
The screen. I'm having to look at the camera. It's honestly, it was a bit of a nerve-wracking experience. But yeah.
Go back. Half a heart. He went down to half a heart. You're telling me he somehow saved his world on half a heart? Really? Okay.
But yeah, I recorded a replay of the whole thing. I walked forwards, and as I walked past the skulk sensor, which was calibrated to only activate if I walked past a certain position, but yeah, as it detected me, a load of redstone repeaters delayed the signal, and slowly but surely, it ticked along, and the moment my player hit half a heart, an ender pearl stasis chamber was activated,
How did he not die, bro? He doesn't have a heart, and he doesn't even have a chest plate.
teleporting me back, and I would have died if I wasn't wearing armor, which is why the Feather Falling 4 saved my life.
So he risked it. Like, he could have just lost his world right there. He could have died to fall damage. He could have timed it up a little bit too late. A lot of stuff could have happened.
And I was alive and well. From my POV, this is exactly how it looked. And then I had to somehow get out of that obsidian box with no items and get back to my house without dying. So what you're about to see is my very first time playing on my hardcore world.
So that's how he faked it. Okay, bet. No, that's fire. No, W, that's a very cool idea. I like that.